hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Roland's Reviews. I came on just a little bit earlier than usual, and I'll probably still come on at my normal time on Friday. So I'll probably come on about 6:30 ish, something like that. As you enter the chat room, please do me one small favor and hit that like button. That tells YouTube that you are most assuredly enjoying this content, and we hope to possibly trigger the YouTube algorithm and bring more people into the conversation. So, I hope that everyone is having a fantastic Friday. All right, we made it. Thank goodness, as we always do. um, So hit the like button if you have social media. Do me a favor and share this stream out on your various forms of social media as well. Okay, I will do the roll call momentarily. I want to give people time. I hate to get started and then people come in, oh, I'm late, I'm late. I'm like, it's okay. I see the usual suspects are here. They're entering the chat room. Thank goodness. They keep me sane. All right. And I hope um, that you're familiar with this topic. If not, hey, we're going to discuss it like we always do. All right. And let's see where we are. All right. Okay. We have some people I haven't seen in a while. I must have caught some people on a lunch break or something. How are all of you? And I'll call your names out momentarily. And if you missed the live stream from Thursday night, oh my God, you need to check it out. If you are not familiar with what is going on so far as the ongoing so called feud between uh, Elon Musk and Trump, I tried to lay it all out for you last night. So if you want, just type it in the comment section. I will definitely drop that link in the stream for you. All right. Let's see where we are here. Um okay, wrong. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and get started with this roll call. Dorian is here. How are you doing, love? Greetings, greetings, greetings. Baldwin Birds, of course, is here. Rob Cat, Gilbert. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you're all hit that little thumb. That's the like button. And so, even though don't get watch when you're lying. Oh, okay. Thank you, Valerie, for that comment. Um, here we go. On your somebody was telling me that they really enjoyed the video from yesterday, so check it out. Um, yeah, because we know we were talking in the stream and we were like, is this really real? But we'll find out, right? So we got to wait and see where it goes. Let's see who else is in the stream. So some of you are here. If you don't type hello, if you don't type a word, if you don't send an emoji, you're here, but I can't see you. If that makes sense, I can just see that people are here. So I don't know. Tell me, look at the subject matter. It seems to me people are definitely leaving a sinking ship. So I am just like, what? Nothing shocks me anymore. People are kind of just like fed up with the Democrats and their nonsense. And hey, I love it. I absolutely think that it is great. But we're going to expose Karine. And I'm going to read this article. We'll go over that. But look at these grifters. She's a grifter. Now, If you remember, type it in the comment section. She has got to be one of the greatest liars in history. And you remember, if you remember, type it in the comment section. Every time that she was asked about Joe Biden's mental capacity, she stood up there and told nothing but lies. So now that you're writing a book that you're trying to sell, ma'am, I'm not interested. I try my best not to listen to people who tell lies. No, thank you. I'm good. So, what are your thoughts, folks? Type it in the comment section. You know, I always try to keep up with your um, comments. If something slips by me, hey, I didn't do it on purpose. Just know that, let me copy this. Okay, here we go. Just know if I catch it, I'll go back and read it. Not a problem. Okay. So here we go. Hit the like button for me, folks. Ruby, how you doing, dear? Baldwin said they're leaving the plantation. Boom. Yes, they are. But I have a problem with the people who are leaving, and the whole 4 years you were there, you were part of this cluster farm. I'll call it a farm because I don't use the other F word. You were part of it. And now you want to do a tell-all book. Sorry, not sorry. I don't want to hear anything you have to say. You stood there and lied to the American people for 4 years. 4. And now, oh, I'm not a Democrat anymore. I don't know why people would give their hard-earned money to read a tell-all book on this woman. Gilbert said, yeah, right. Dorian, even the whole Brittany Griner situation, she lied every time this woman opened her mouth. She told a lie. I don't want to hear anything she has to say. Ruby, cringy. Yeah, we don't call her Karine. We call her cringy. That's her name. Boom. Cringy. Jean-Pierre is only leaving the plantation because she did not get a gig on MSNBC and The View turned her down. There were no lies detected there, Ruby. I was going to get to that. So she's a grifter. She was so-called, from what I read, she was told or promised she was going to get a job at MSNBC. That did not happen. How you doing, Bakmari? And so Rob Cat, I would never take Karine seriously. Rob Cat, none of us who has more than 2 brain cells would take her seriously. No way. Rob Cat says, I'm not a Democrat anymore. Okay, so who are now supposedly Rob Cat? She is an independent, supposedly. Dorian, yes, she was a DEI hire. She was Black, she's a female, and she was part of the rainbow community. She was definitely a DEI hire. So you know they couldn't fire her. Oh my God, the world will end. Laurie, how are you doing, love? Laurie, all of you, type in the comment section. What are your thoughts on this title? Whew, oh my goodness. Laurie, I just sent you some kitty cats. There you go. So she's a Haitian and an immigrant like Joyless Reed. Boom. And again, I wouldn't give her a dime for that book. She is part of the crowd that stood there and lied to the American people. And we never forget. We don't. And so what are your thoughts, folks? I'm going to go over this. Barnes Homestead, how you doing, love? Karine, we call her Cringe. You're welcome, Laurie. Might as well become a Democrat again. Her departure won't change anything. Right. And you were part of that last administration, that debacle. I don't want anything from her. So let's go ahead. I'll start. All right. And again, we call her Cringe. Cringe, Jean-Pierre, is leaving the Democratic Party. Her former White House colleagues have some thoughts. And so we know, we've already talked about the Democrats. They turn on each other. There's no loyalty. There's nothing but backstabbing and contempt and derision. We said they are definitely imploding. Dorian, the worst offender was the Brittany Griner situation, which was embarrassing. Yes, and what are they full of? Snakes and backstabbers. That's all they have in the Democratic Party at this point. And they've always had that, but now it's on Front Street. We can see it now more than ever. All right, so look at this. Several who worked alongside, and you know how it is when someone has sour grapes. So she has sour grapes. She didn't get her MSNBC gig, right? She didn't get a position on The View, which will probably be canceled sooner rather than later, we hope. And so now they have things to say about Karine. All right. I'll read this, and then I have some video clips to share with you as well. Karine Jean-Pierre's announcement that she's leaving the Democratic Party. Time with the rollout. Okay, look at this. This isn't a coincidence. Time with the rollout of her new book. And I'm going to show you a little short she made, trying to hawk this new book. Has detonated long simmering grievances among her former White House colleagues about Jean-Pierre's pursuit of celebrity and personal media exposure while serving as then President Joe Biden's press secretary. So now they're saying she was all of these things. But of course they couldn't say anything when she was there. She's a DEI hire. Boom. She was a DEI hire, rather. The attention-grabbing ploy lit up Democratic and Biden alumni texting groups and reignited frustrations that burned for years about Jean-Pierre, according to 7 former Biden administration officials granted anonymity to describe private conversations. One former official recalled that Jean-Pierre had joked about becoming an independent even while on the job in the Biden White House, an off-key comment for someone ostensibly serving as a major messenger for the Democratic Party. Another former official said that Jean-Pierre had begun working during the Biden administration with a New York-based publicist and had copied that person on official emails before some of Jean-Pierre's White House colleagues intervened. Everyone thinks this is a grift, the first former official said of Jean-Pierre's book project. So she's doing all these things while she is in the White House. Ma'am, that wasn't part of your job. So as you can see, it looks to me, now type it in the comment section. It looks to me like she was setting herself up, trying to prepare herself for a future beyond the White House. Ma'am, that's not what you're supposed to be working on. You were the press secretary. Okay? Ruby, the DNC is a cult. We've said that several times, Ruby. Boom. They will come for her and denounce the book. Ruby, you know they are. I hope she doesn't come up missing. You know how it is. When you turn on them, hey, anything can happen. So she better watch herself. Here we go. As Biden's press secretary, Jean-Pierre's halting, ineffectual briefings exasperated reporters and routinely offered material for the Republican Party's main account on X. She frustrated colleagues throughout the West Wing for focusing on, listen, look at this, folks. Let me highlight this. Raising her own profile while leaving the hands-on management of media relations and the White House press shop to other aides. So, well, what do you expect from a DEI hire? Boom. So in other words, she gave this to her little underling. Here, you do this while she's working on her future. Type it in the comment section, folks. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? All right, I'll continue. While it's unclear how she will portray Biden on her time in the White House, in the book titled Independent, a look inside a broken White House. So, and this is where I have another issue. All of these people, just like I told you, I have an issue with the people who were trying to get us to vote for the Curry Queen when she didn't win. Now they're coming out. Remember all those people? Oh, we didn't get paid. And then the few black people she had working on her campaign, we were being discriminated against. But you were trying to get us to vote for her. So sorry, not sorry. I have nothing for you. It's all a money grab. Boom. Maybe she will expose the auto pin scandal. Bot said, I won't hold my breath. Hit the like button for me, please, folks. 22 watching, only 13 people have hit that little thumb. Hit that for me, please. It won't cost you anything, I promise. So let me continue. This is something every day with these people. So now she's telling us, okay, the White House was broken. Ma'am, while you were working there, you were telling us that everything was perfect. Hello, Florida. Thank you, love. So again, I'm looking at you with the side eye. Okay. Because when you were there and when people were asking you questions, you stood there and told the American people nothing but lies. Now you're coming out with a book. Oh, it was broke. We knew it was broken, but you stood there and told us lies all the time. All right, let me continue. And so while it's unclear how she would portray him, here we are. A look inside a broken White House outside the party lines. Several former colleagues expressed confusion at how Jean-Pierre seemingly intends to paint Biden as a victim. Well, you know, that's the Democratic way. Boom. All Democrats are victims, right? We know that. Nothing new to see here. Okay, let me continue. While pinning her own decision to leave the party on his broken White House. The teasing of the book project by the Hatchet imprint stated that Jean-Pierre will offer her view of the 3 weeks of turmoil following Biden's miserable debate. And we knew that. All the American people who had 2 eyeballs at work, we knew. I don't know why they thought they could hide his cognitive decline. If you're new to the channel, go back and look at videos that we've done over a year ago. Hit the like button for me, please, folks. If you're new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying this content. So you weren't telling us anything that we did not already know. Stop it. So anyway, yeah, let me continue. His miserable debate last summer that culminated with him dropping his reelection bid, a result of the book's promotional material, blames in part. So she's saying in her book, she's giving you a few tidbits in her book. After they lost, and it was a miserable performance, thank God, by the Curry Queen. She called it a betrayal by the Democratic Party. I say the Democratic Party betrayed the American people because they sat there and told all those lies. So that, to me, that's treasonous. So those are my thoughts. Yes, Barnes, I'm glad. Yes. Ruby, it is the lack of integrity for me. KGP, when Biden was a vegetable, but yeah, Ruby, that's how she did, is tell lies. That's it. Dorian said, I don't know what else to say. These people should be on probation or in a witness protection program. I say lock them up for treason. They all told lies. Jean-Pierre's former staffers offered withering criticism of what they see as an opportunistic grift. She made a joke about being an independent last year, and now it's a book. All ideas are monetary. Well, she's a Democrat. Even the dumb ones, said one of the former staffers. Caitlin Lagati, a Democratic strategist who worked in the Commerce Department's communication shop during Biden's term, also took issue with the book's apparent premise. Kamala Harris and the entire Biden-Harris campaign did heroes' work to avoid losing 400 electoral votes and giving Republicans a supermajority in Congress, which is what would have happened if he stayed on the ticket, she said. It's more productive to focus on that and thank Biden for doing the responsible thing by stepping aside then it is to pretend this was an unwarranted act of betrayal. And we know he really didn't have a choice but to step aside. He was basically forced into it. How you doing, CJ? Good, CJ. You woke up just on time. Hit that like button, dear. Dorian, if she meant it, she needs to stand on it, but she didn't. Right, Dorian. She has, as Ruby said it earlier, she has no integrity. She did nothing but lie for 4 years. She can say nothing that I will listen to. Nothing. I would. There's no way. If the book was free, I wouldn't read it. No way. We heard all the lies. She already told all the lies. Why should I read it? No. All right. People will literally die because of Republican Medicaid cuts. Kids will go hungry because of SNAP cuts, she said. The only reason we stand a chance to reduce the harm inflicted is the Democratic Party did the right thing here. I don't know what she's smoking, but she's smoking something. It's completely nuts to be more upset that the party didn't prioritize Joe Biden's ego and keep him on the ticket than to thank God we averted complete and total disaster. A New York-based, let me get rid of this so I can read all of it. Okay. A New York-based publicist, Gilda Squire, worked informally with Jean-Pierre while she was in the White House and was on multiple occasions copied on official emails before staffers raised the issue, another former official said. Squire previously served as publicity director for HarperCollins Publishers and also did PR for Penguin Putnam Publishing, according to her LinkedIn. And Jean-Pierre was the subject of several lengthy profiles in lifestyle publications, including Vogue and Women's Health, and traveled to New York to appear on The View. All right. So I'm going to read. Don't go anywhere, folks. Hit that like button and share this on your Facebook, Instagram, other social media pages. This is crazy. Robcat, Biden did the responsible thing, stepping aside so Kamala could lose. Boom. Oh my God. Facts. At one point, staffers raised Jean-Pierre's frequent interactions from the White House with Squire to the White House counsel's office, as well as her frequent public appearances at galas and other events she attended in a personal capacity, according to two former officials familiar with the matter. The Office of Legal Counsel did provide clear guidance on the requirements for disclosing outside appearances and any gifts received to Jean-Pierre's staff who conveyed the information to her, the two former officials said. According to one of the former officials and another former official, Jean-Pierre had been hoping for a post-White House job as a co-host on The View. Okay, and I said that earlier, right? Following the template of her predecessor, Jean Psaki, who departed the job after just more than a year for an anchor job at MSNBC. But no such opportunity materialized for Jean-Pierre, a factor three of her former colleagues surmised that likely led to the book. Neither Jean-Pierre nor Squire responded to a request for comment. Okay. While a number of former colleagues kept their comments private, Jeremy Edwards, who served in the press shop under Jean-Pierre, posted a succinct response to her book project on X. LOL. Jean-Pierre wouldn't be the first press secretary in recent years to turn against her boss or former colleagues. Stephanie Grissom, who served as press secretary during President Donald Trump's first term, authored a 2021 book detailing her experience in the White House and how Trump often berated her. So, folks, this is what people do. Who can you trust? How about no one? But whereas Grissom was never allowed to brief at the podium, Jean-Pierre was the public face of the administration for 2.5 years. Okay. One Democratic operative who worked with Jean-Pierre prior to her White House tenure called the sudden turnabout the most grifty thing I've seen in a long time. And that's saying something in Washington. She was the public face telling us all that this White House was on track and that Biden was amazing. And we know all lies. And now she doesn't even want to be a Democrat. Can you blame her? One of the former Biden White House officials said via text, she's making herself the middle ground here when Republicans hate her. She's not in any position to be a connector of our two-party system and assuming she could be is just ego. All right, so that's it. Tell me what your thoughts are. For Bach said she lied for 3 years, and Jean Psaki lied for the first. Yeah, facts. Oh my God. Dorian said, yeah, the Democratic Party is a dead horse. I mean, who pays attention to them? No one. All of us who have more than what, 2 brain cells, we don't pay any attention. What are your thoughts, folks? I'm in the comment section. Amazing, right? That she would believe, and let me pull this up. I want to show you how she's trying to sell her new book here. Let me get this for you. Oh my God. I think it is is this the one? Let me see. I have a few shorts to share with you. Yeah, I have a few. Work with me here. Let me get these pulled up. Okay. I think I'm in the right place here. All right. Hit the like button, folks. Let's see. Let's watch a few shorts on Jean-Pierre. And just remember, folks, she lied the entire time. And now she's writing a book. Let's listen to some of this crap.
Breakfast with, and has the president admitted to you?
Wait, say that last part. So you think we've had those lit because of this excerpt?
Not the excerpt. The book is suggesting the president tells aides he's tired.
But that's in the excerpt, right?
Yeah, and that's why there have been so few public events before 10 a.m.
I mean, that's a ridiculous assumption to make.
Is this why we're seeing brunch?
All right, that was what I mean. She did nothing but.
Is this why we're seeing?
I appreciate the request. Thank you for the request. The president, as you know, again, I appreciate the question and I get it, and the president understands. You guys want to ask him questions and have the opportunity for him to answer your questions. I do want to say, this is a president that has done more in the first 2.5 years when it comes to the economy.
What a pivot! Can you believe that? By the way, again, this is the president who promised the most transparent administration in history.
Yeah,
and look how he's running away
and
from
look,
the press.
the media, when he was promising that, did not demand to get into the House, did not demand to have conferences with him, did not question what is it that he's in the basement all the time. They set this up.
Yeah.
So it's now a little bit ridiculous to then be surprised that he still doesn't want to talk to you.
I appreciate the request.
The White House press secretary is having a hard time explaining all of this illicit activity. Take a look.
The top Republican on the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Comer, has said that he's investigating the president's involvement in his son Hunter's foreign business dealings. Looking for your reaction to that, and then on the merits of the allegations, can you address whether the president was involved in any of his son Hunter or his brother's foreign business dealings?
So look, there's a little bit of interesting, kind of on-brand thinking here.
Huh? On-brand thinking? No explanation, no special counsel investigation, no special prosecutor. Hunter's tax and money laundering investigation has been slow walk for years now, and the media mob is complaining that the House Republicans might conduct actual oversight, do their job, and investigate possible public corruption. The White House press secretary is having a hard time explaining all.
It would seem that people in this White House knew that President Biden was slipping, and it was hidden from the American people. So who ordered White House officials to cover up a declining president?
I know that that is a narrative that you love, and no, wait, hold on.
He did a press conference at NATO. I'm in it. There's all these things that I need to finish, and then 10 days later, I'm dropping out.
Okay, wait, you're asking me like multiple questions here. Let me wait. First of all, there's been no cover-up. want to be very clear about that. I know that's the narrative that you all, wait, no, you can't.
Can you say whether or not you'd be willing to have the president's doctor come to the podium, particularly given that he is the president, does intend to serve out his term, and there have been a number of questions about, his fitness for office. Some of those questions can be settled if perhaps there's his doctor would come to the podium, or if more medical records could be released.
You heard from the president's doctor, I believe, every day that he had COVID. He gave his assessment of what was going on, what was happening. There was a memo that was sent out to all of you. Obviously, the memo was given to me, and we shared it publicly. I don't have anything else. And you've heard me say this many times. There was an extensive medical evaluation that was done, physical that was done in February. You all have that. I just don't have anything else to share from here.
It would seem that.
Yep. So again, she lied. She knew. This is painful revisiting it. Rob, yes. How can you lie to people for 4 years and now, I'm writing a book. I don't care what I don't want to read anything that you're writing. Forget that. So I wanted to, take you back because I'm sure some of you have forgotten. When the lies in the binder did not address the subject, she'd walk off, or she just changed the subject when she didn't want to answer. And she's still to this day telling these lies. Oh, there was nothing wrong. I was around him every day. Stop it. Stop it. Okay? No one is listening to you and your lies. Stop it. All right. So I had that. I have something else to share with you here. Hit the like button. Also, share this stream out on your various forms of social media. I appreciate it. All right, let me share this with you. All right.
Embrace life as a political independent. That particular kernel of advice coming from an unlikely source, former Biden White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who at just 4.5 months out of the White House seems to be distancing herself from her former boss. And now she's announcing that she has switched her political affiliation to independent. That announcement comes Wednesday alongside a promotion for her new tell-all book titled Independent, a look inside a broken White House outside the party lines.
Chronicles the 3 weeks leading to President Biden's decision to drop out of the race and the alleged party betrayal that led to his decision. Here she was back in February speaking about that alleged betrayal.
There was a disconnect for me, what was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague.
Now, of course, she's saying all this. Now, had the Curry Queen won, life would be great. No, she wouldn't be saying any of this. So I don't want to hear it now, ma'am. I'll continue.
Communications Director Ben LeBolt said it was a firing squad, and I had never seen anything like it before.
In a promotional release, the book's publisher said that KJP, quote, didn't come to her decision to be an independent lightly. She is also quoted as saying, the danger we face as a country requires freeing ourselves of boxes. We need to be willing to exercise the ability to think creatively and plan strategically. We need to be clear-eyed and questioning rather than blindly loyal and obedient as we may have been in the past.
You're reading her quote in a Trump voice.
Was that a Trump voice?
Some on the left, though, seeing it as something of a betrayal by the former senior staffer. Journalist and author of the newsletter Public Notice, Aaron Rupar, responding to the news of the book on Wednesday, posting on X, quote, it's sad that Biden stuck with Karine Jean-Pierre for all those years, despite the fact that she was not great at her job, only for her to turn around and write a book about why she left the Democratic Party.
And remember, those of you just coming in, there's no way they were going to fire her. She was Black. All right. Black woman in the rainbow community. DEI. Can we say DEI, boys and girls? They did not want that stain, not the Democrat. Oh, we can't fire someone Black. They can do whatever. We can't fire them. All right. So this is what you get. I'll continue.
and is now an independent.
Meanwhile, Scott Jennings on CNN Wednesday echoed what many conservatives are saying, and I bet I'm going to agree with it. Take this book with a grain of salt. Listen.
I mean, I think the things we've learned in the last 2 years is that the two least credible sources of information in this world are the Gaza Health Ministry and Karine Jean-Pierre. And when she puts this book out, every single person who reads it, reviews it, or discusses it needs to remember that virtually everything she said about what was going on behind the scenes in the White House was an outright lie.
Yep.
And so when she puts a book out, I think we ought to treat it from a source that has a proven track record of lying.
Look at that CNN anchor. Oh my, it's like she wants to say stop. She does not like what is coming out of his mouth, but it's all truth. Dorian said if they're not cheating, then they're not trying. Boom. Let me continue. I'm just laughing at her facial expressions.
From the podium of the White House to the American people.
Yes, that is correct. I think Karine Jean-Pierre is, well, I don't like her, and I don't think anybody else does at this point.
I do.
You like her?
Yeah.
Oh, well, let me
I'll be the
my
one.
whole invective. No, I think she was not very good at her job. That's not just my opinion, right? That's the opinion of Democrats now. I love people becoming independents. I'm an independent. That's wonderful. This is not a true conversion to independence. This is an opportunistic move. She wants to disassociate herself to some degree with the administration that everyone hates, and that she is one of the leading figures involved in manufacturing, protecting, defending the cover-up. I don't think she was ever very good on the podium, but it goes well beyond that. She has no credibility.
Nope.
That's not just coming from me. Alex Thompson of the Original Sin book has some new reporting out that I was following last night and this morning. This is on X. He writes that her colleagues, KJP's colleagues, call her one of the most ineffectual and unprepared people I've ever worked with.
Okay, so if she was that bad at her job, someone type it in the comment section. Why did they not fire her? That would happen to you. That would happen to me. Why was she allowed to keep a job for 4 years that she was ineffectual at? Someone tell me. Tina said she's going to make some money off this book. Democrats are going to buy it to see what's in it. I'm waiting for someone to tell me in the comment section. If she was that bad, DEI, rainbow, yes. So you can do anything. They're not going to fire you. They know she's a grifter. We know she's a grifter. Don't buy this book, folks. She was part of the cover-up. And now, I was around them every day and I didn't see any. Lady, stop. All right. Now she wants to be rewarded for all of the lies she told the American people. No way. No way would I buy a book from her. I mean, we've already heard the lies. Why should we buy the book? She doesn't even deserve this position. Right. She was part, like I said, she was part of this disastrous administration. Miss Pierre was there for show and tell. Just the game I play when I want to say I love you. That was a hit song. Oh, show me and tell me that you feel the same way too. Okay, you're right. You're absolutely right. And the thing she's saying in the book, we already know. She's doing her revenge tour now on the Democrats. Just like they're coming after her, she's going after them. She was the chief. Listen to me, chief propagandist. Boom. In that White House. Someone tell me I made a mistake and I'm wrong. Someone tell me. The chief propagandist. And oh my God, how many questions did she not answer? She should have wrote a book about lying for 4 years. Gilbert, yeah. That's what, right? How it feels to lie to the American people for 4 years. Perfect title. Boom. And remember, who remembers her? Anytime some information came out about it, she would call it. Anyone remember what she used to call it? Let me see if anyone remember. Type it in the comment section. If you don't, I'll tell you. But anytime one of the reporters asked a question that was truthful, what did she call it? There were two words she used together. I'll start. Okay, I don't see it yet. Cheap fake, Ruby. She called everything cheap fakes. Robert, is she an illegal? I don't know. If she is, deport her, please, sir. How are you? She called it cheap fakes, and we were like, ma'am, no, that's the truth. The lies that you were telling were the cheap fakes, right? Conspiracy theory. Yeah, okay. So she was the chief spreader of misinformation, disinformation. But remember, for content creators that were trying to get the truth out about the Curry Queen, what were they all saying? Oh, people are spreading misinformation. Those are Russian. When they were showing, a lot of Black Americans were not voting. A lot voted for the Curry Queen, but a lot were voting for Trump. A lot were staying home. Those polls, that stuff's not true. Those are Russian bots. She and that joyless Marie, everybody thought it was Russian bots, but they found the FAFO. Boom. So yeah, her cheap fakes. Yeah, we know what the cheap fake is. She was lying. Oh, Biden is very sharp. I'm around him every day. There's no decline. Okay, biggest lie in history. Get out of here. All right, let me continue.
The amount of time spent coddling her was astronomical compared to our attention on actual matters of substance. Many have quietly fumed for years. Again, I'm not reading from some conservative person. This is Alex Thompson. Jean-Pierre had caused internal drama. She was untouchable because of her close relationship with Anthony Bernal, who's the Jill Biden figure who is very reviled in the original Sin book. All right, go ahead now.
The job of a press secretary is to provide press with information that is discussed amongst, well, like Carolyn Levitt, you know, they just does the same thing. She says what's best for Trump, always. And then if it changes, she says that it changed because their team told her that it changed. That's the job of a press secretary. Now, I'm going to say first saw the headline, saw the news come up on the TV, and I'm like, oh man, this is another money grab, another book.
It is. That's exactly
that's what I thought. But then I went back and watched her interview on The View in March of this year. And she actually said a lot of things that are in line with her new decision. And so she said, I want to look at the Republican Party and ask you, are you comfortable with a government that skips over Congress constantly? And a president that does that and going to have blind allegiance and not make the proper changes to put the country first? And then I want to ask Democrats, who are you? Who are we fighting for? And are we meeting this moment that we complained about of Trump with a sense of urgency? And if the answer to both questions is not satisfactory, then you have not found yourself in either of the parties. And I think that there's a strong argument that most Americans do not lie on the fringes of the parties. So I don't think that most Americans are very far left, and I don't think that they are very far right. I think most Americans are center left or center right, and they want to hear real conversations. Polls showed us that most Americans do not think that some of Trump's, what people would describe as childish behaviors, are acceptable, but they didn't think that the option and the alternative was acceptable either, and the way that it was coordinated and pushed forward in that way. And so I think that the American people feel a lot like KJP because they really want to find themselves in the truth and honesty of who represents them. And just like we saw the number of independents in this country rise, I think there's a strong argument for the fact that people are looking somewhere else and not in a two-party system to figure out what's next. And she didn't say she's running for president. She just said, I am an autonomous individual that wants to make my own choices. And I think we should commend that. I actually changed my perspective, and I think that we should commend anybody who allows autonomy of thought.
If Caroline Levitt knew that Trump had suffered some kind of cognitive catastrophe and was no longer capable or qualified to be the president and didn't tell us, I would be condemning her.
I don't think
I would not want her to write a book. I would not want her to be in public life anymore. The same goes for KJP.
I don't think that she believes that Biden was cognitively in decline. She doesn't believe that. The book is an angry.
She knew. You know, you ever heard the old people say, you see what you want to see or hear what you want to? She knew. You said you spent a significant amount of time with that man on a daily basis, and you saw no cognitive decline. All right, tell me another one.
Book about how people treated him. She doesn't believe that. So she's being loyal and honest. No, she's just telling you her perspective. That's what she feels. Just like you don't feel that Trump is a little senile.
I don't want to hear anything
You don't think
from her
she doesn't
ever
think
again.
that Biden.
I agree with this woman. She can go away. This guy is saying, those are my sentiments exactly. I don't want to hear anything from her. You're a liar. I can't believe anything you say. So I'm with this guy here.
and has a cognitive decline, and that's her right to think or not to think. She worked closely with him.
She should write a book then
If
about.
she couldn't see that Biden had cognitive decline, in my eyes, she has it too. Boom. If she could not see, if her ears and her eyes are working perfectly, and you could not see cognitive, you could not detect cognitive decline, then ma'am, you have it too. Let me finish this up.
About how Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy are real. Sorry, kids, if any of them are watching, but she's gonna come in for a lot more of a vicious criticism on social media. I think that does it for us.
And folks, notice again, people are abandoning ship, a sinking ship. She's not the only person that is abandoning the Democratic Party. Now, I think with her, what flavor Kool-Aid do they serve at the Hill, Ruby? These are my thoughts on Karine. Yeah, she's trying to distance herself, which is not going to work, from this disastrous administration. I think she has aspirations for the future, her political future. Who knows? She may even try to run for president. But there is no way you can distance yourself from this monstrosity under the Democrats. What say you in the chat section? What are your thoughts? You know how I feel. That's my review. Let me see. I was going to share. Yeah, I had I want to show you how she's peddling her her new book. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Okay. All right. Yeah, let me share. I want to share this with you too. Hit that like button, if you will, folks, please. And all right, I have a couple more short videos to share with you, and then we'll get out of here. All right. Yeah, we did that one. I'm just laughing. It's laughable at this point that she must think we're stupid or something. Well, Robert says maybe her and Joy Reid can have a show to, Joy Reid is now here on YouTube. So the legacy media is failing, and look at where they're coming. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Joy Reid she's in this space now, which we knew she wasn't just going to go home and continue to sit there and cry. We knew she was going to do something like a podcast. We said that a few videos ago. She'll do a podcast or something. Right. Dorian, had Biden won, KGP would still be there lying. Yes, boom. Exactly. So that's why I'm saying, Ruby, the hypocrisy for me, it's too much. I don't want to hear what she has to say. Had the Curry Queen won the presidency, she'd still be there telling lies. So stop it. All right, let's listen. This is she's trying to pawn this new book off on us. So listen to this crap.
Regressiveness of social policy, what we're seeing currently right now, what I have decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass. And that's what I've done. And that's what this book does. And here's the truth. And here's how I will lay it out to you. I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan. This book, Independent, it's about looking outside of boxes, not just always being in a partisan stance. And how do we move forward together in a compassionate way, in a way that really truly cares about people? October 21st. In an era of misinformation.
All right, so she's out here peddling her book. Dorian said she needs to go talk to a psychiatrist. Oh my God. Right, Tina, Americans, no, that's not how Americans feel. And I had one more to share with you. All right. Hit that like button, hit that share button, please, folks. Okay. Is this the one? Okay. And I wish I could show you. I may try to show you her 5 biggest fails. If I could speed it up, that's on Sky News Australia. Oh my God. I'll see if I can play that for you. How you doing, MC? Yes, MC, you just getting here. Hit the like, but we said that. She was in the White House and they're saying she was not effectual for 4 years. She wasn't doing her job because she's too busy preparing for her future. Right. All right, where are we here? All right, so let me start. I want you to hear what she's saying. Let me go back and listen to some of the crap. You know, here listening to her talk. She's a victim, of course. All right, well, I'm trying to play it. Let me see. Get rid of this commercial. Let me see. All right, we're there. All right, let's listen to a little bit of what she's saying here. If you can stomach it, don't worry, we're not going to watch the whole thing. I know it's difficult.
No pressure.
No pressure
at all.
No pressure. That's actually the easy question. Hello. So the last time I've watched the news
Don't rub it in.
was January 20th when I was at the White House. I've not watched the news. I have really tried to focus on self-care.
Yeah.
I've really tried to focus on my daughter. I have a 10-year-old. And I have done, I think the best way to say this is I have deprogrammed myself so that I could be a civilian again. I used to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. Like that was my schedule every day for 4 years. And I thought that when I stepped away from the lectern, the podium, that I would have this like adrenaline, like I would need to feed my I need to be doing something.
Right.
And I have not missed it at all.
Whatever's in your water, I need it.
Now she's at the Harvard Kennedy School, the institute there. So, and we know what's going on with Harvard right now in the administration. All them lies you had to tell is why you right. MC says she needs self-care because of all the lies she told. Oh my God.
But I do want to say it was an honor and a privilege to have the job, to be the White House press secretary, and I would do it again easily, but I don't miss it.
Yeah, I'm very jealous of whatever self-care tips you can slip in throughout all of this.
I have to. I have a kid that I got to raise. I gotta be present for her, and self-care is really, really important. So I'm doing okay. This is like the first time I've actually done anything. So.
Well, thank you for doing it with us. Let's make a little news tonight. You might as well.
I gotta tell you.
Yeah. Well, they want it too, right?
Ruby, would you behave? Ruby said 4 a.m. was the time she had to help Jill change Joe's pull-ups for big boys. Boom. She had to get up and help. Oh my. Ruby, you're going to the corner if you continue with this behavior.
I got to tell you, you got to thank Mike Donnellan. When he asked me to do this, and I said, anything you want, I am here. I did not know what I said yes to. But when Mike asked me to do this, it was an easy yes, and I'm very happy to be here with all of you. So thank you. I think I've met some students here, and you all are incredibly brilliant and smart and caring, and it's impressive. It makes me feel better about the world. So thank you.
Yeah, I feel they make me feel old a lot of the time. So they're like, what are beepers?
Well, Brittany, I'm not, I already feel old, but yes, I feel you on that.
Well, let's have an interesting conversation tonight, and I really appreciate all that. And actually, it's a good segue to what's top of mind for me, because I know a lot of journalists are probably watching on this live stream, desperate to make deadlines. So I'm going to ask you the big question first.
Oh, gosh.
What's next for Karine Jean-Pierre?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I would love to know myself. I want to take time to figure that out. I feel like I owe myself that.
Yeah.
She's not going to tell. I really think she has political aspirations. That's why she's trying to distance herself, and to make money too, distance herself from the disaster that was the Biden-Harris administration. We will never forget. You're wasting your time. I'll continue.
I do think I want to have a voice in the moment. I don't know what that looks like yet. And I mean, you have to think about it. I was in the job for 2.5 years, and what I was living and breathing was the job. And so it's going to take a little bit of time to deprogram and to get on the other side of that. I am the longest serving female press secretary, which is insane when I learned that.
Wow.
But
serving, not working. Boom.
That tells you that, you get burned out in these jobs. So I'm excited about what's next. I feel like I want to be very much in control of what's next. But I don't have a job to announce at this time.
All right, well, circle back at the end. I thought it was fascinating. You said you want to find your voice.
Yeah.
Because for so long you were speaking with a voice, but it was a voice of the administration on behalf of somebody else, right? So tell me a little bit about who is Karine Jean-Pierre, who is her voice.
I was listening to the introduction about me before we came out, and I love when the intersection piece of what I'm trying.
Now, Dorian, I was thinking about that too. Joy Reid is here with a podcast. She may come out with a podcast as well. I thought about that to continue to try to get her brand. She's rebranding herself. So I thought about that too, I'm sure. Especially since she didn't get the gig with The View and MSNBC. She probably just do her own thing as a podcaster, right? Chubbs, how you doing, love? Thank you for your service, sir. I'll continue.
Trying who I am and what I want to achieve and how I want to be a connector, how I want to continue to speak for vulnerable people, how I want to make sure that I'm using my platform in that way that's effective, that matters. And all of those things are still very true today. The reason I ended up in this job is because I was passionate about that, passionate about helping people, passionate about hopefully changing people's lives for the better, passionate about giving people a platform for folks who feel like they are voiceless or don't have an opportunity to share how they feel. And so that is very much continues to be who I am. I got to do it in a different way the last 2.5, 4 years practically. And that didn't go away, but obviously I was speaking for someone else, and I was speaking for the most powerful person in the world.
You have to recalibrate, right? Because you could, maybe, and we'll get into that later, like you can slip out and go, oh, crap, I shouldn't have, you have to be able to adjust in front of that room that I sat in, probably was taking you and everybody else off behind the podium. I just think it's so fascinating. I feel like it goes well into Anushka's question.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Karine, kind of on the point of representation, and you want.
Now, again, we know that she's at Harvard, the Harvard Kennedy School, Institute of Politics. We know how liberal and left-leaning they are. So now, they have to get to the identity politics portion of it. So let's listen to this.
To speak up for people who are vulnerable in this country. As we heard from the lovely intro, you are no stranger yourself to being the first to do many of those things. You're the first Black woman, first openly queer woman, first daughter of Haitian immigrants to this country to be the face of the White House and the presidency. So, I'm just wondering, was that always the goal for you? Was White House press secretary always the...
What did she just say? She didn't say she could do the job. You were the first Black, the first rainbow. Who gives a care? From what we're hearing from her colleagues, she could not do the job. So, sorry, not sorry. Who cares? Ruby, call Michelle Obama to be a guest on her podcast. The memes would be priceless. Ruby, you got that right. Tina said she definitely wants a political career. All right, here we go. We'll listen to this, and then I'm going to fast forward. I want you to hear that last part of the video, and then we'll get out of here.
The end goal?
No, not at all. If you had said to me 7 years ago, 10 years ago, and said, hey, you know what, Karine, you're going to be the White House press secretary. I'd be like, no, I don't think so. No, it was not the goal. I mean, I was an incredibly shy kid, very shy. The fact that I did that job is kind of shocking to me because I was a really painfully shy child. And when I was growing up, I thought I was going to be a doctor. I grew up in an immigrant household. Some of you may feel this, what I'm about to say is in that household. I was told you have to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, like a profession that my parents understood that they believed would get you into the middle class. I grew up in a working class neighborhood. My dad was a New York City cab driver. My mom was a home health care aide. They are still living check to check, right? That is what the household, that's what I learned, that's what I knew. And so my parents really wanted their children to have better than they did. And they grew up in a dictatorship. Like they grew up in Haiti at the time when they were there. It was very much a dictatorship. So politics was not a real thing for them. And so I never thought that I would be White House press secretary. And look, you know, I've had an interesting trajectory to the lectern, to the podium. And I would not have made that history or be at the White House in that role if it wasn't for Joe Biden, who believed in me, who believed that I was the best person to help him communicate with the American people, and who also wanted to make sure that we met the moment of where we are as a country. And I would not have that job if it wasn't for him. I will say, when you...
And we've already said, we already know the Democrats are about what? Symbolism, representation, that gender and identity politics. Don't give a care if you can do the job or not. So, oh, you're the first this, the first that. Symbolism, so people can say, oh, look, they have a black person in this position, that position. Boom. Vote for them. Boom. No, ma'am, no, sir.
You say representation, which I thought is very interesting. When I was 8, 9 years old, 10 years old, whatever, I did not know who the White House press secretary was. And I think with representation and people seeing themselves in me in that briefing room, the amount of young people that I met who were emotional or who, you know, did their book report on me was pretty, I was floored by it. I met so many 4th graders, 5th graders, 6th graders who knew who I was and felt.
Did they know you did not do your job effectively? Boom. I'll continue.
Seen, and they believed and they wanted to be the White House press secretary. So representation is incredibly powerful. It matters. And it has been, you're going to hear me continue to say this, it's been an honor and a privilege to be in that role, because what it has, not just because of what I was able to do and how I represented the administration, but what it meant to so many young people.
Powerful.
All right. I'm going to take you to what I want you to hear, because some of you came in after I played a small snippet of what she had to say about the Democratic Party. And I want to play this last little piece and then we'll be done. Hold on. 57. Get rid of the commercial, I'm sure, that's coming up, and then I'll play that and then we're done. All right, here we go.
So now that lives out there. But can you imagine that it was so hard, that this thing went viral and it was so hard?
Hold on, I got to go back a little bit. Let me see. Okay.
That people who have known me for a decade or more, they know that I don't drink. I do not drink alcohol. That is something that I have not done for a long time. And so people were like, oh, this is, they inherently knew, like they knew that it wasn't true, but it was going all over the place. And the right wing had taken it and it just kept on going. It got so bad that the mainstream media reached out to my team and was like, hey, we know that Karine doesn't drink, we know that, but this is all over the place. We need a statement. Like, can you guys debunk this? And I actually got really annoyed. I'm like, what? I mean, obviously, if you look at the post, it's not real. And if I have this right,
I think someone did something with AI, said she was drunk or something. So that's what she's referencing. But I want you to listen to the next part. I'm letting that play, and it's going to go segue right into what I want you to hear of what she says about the current state of how she sees the Democratic Party, which we already know. All right, and then we're done.
I think the person who posted it might have been a bot or had hardly any followers. It didn't come from a real source. And so what I wanted to do, because I have a 10-year-old and I don't want my daughter ever to like Google me and see this article, all these articles. So my team put out independent fact checker. They didn't put out, they went to independent fact checkers so that it could be debunked. And we got about 3 or 4 independent fact checkers to debunk it. And so now that lives out there. But can you imagine that it was so hard, that this thing went viral, and it was so bad, I should say, that even mainstream media, people who knew me, had to question it. And that's what we're dealing with. And that's probably one thing about me that wasn't true. I'm sure there were many other things, but that's what was out there. And it is really difficult to beat that back. And it really is on everyone here to make sure, as you're reading things, you have to be your own fact checker. You do. I got lucky that my team was able to reach out to, this independent sources so that they can beat it back, or we could beat it back. But it had real legs. And that's the reality of where we are with misinformation and disinformation.
Totally. Thank you. Up here?
Oh, hi.
Hi, my name's Adam. I'm a sophomore here at Harvard. I wanted to ask you, kind of on a similar to the first question, just about, I guess maybe just with the time, one anecdote that you found was particularly challenging about the 3-week period between the...
This is what I want you to hear, folks, and then we're done.
The debate against President Trump that President Biden had, and when he dropped out, one particularly challenging moment, or if you think that the president should have dropped out earlier, or if you think that he should have ran at all.
So just your last question first. He's the president of the United States at the time. He was the leader of the Democratic Party. It was truly his decision to make on what he wanted to do. And I supported that 100%. Whatever it was, I was going to support that 100% because he had the right to, as the leader of the Democratic Party, coming out of a pretty successful midterms. There was supposed to be a red wave. There wasn't a red wave. One of the reasons was because of what we were able to do and how Democrats, whether in their congressional House seats or in the states, were able to communicate for themselves on what we were able to do. And so I think that's important. We can't forget what was happening when he made the decision to run for re-election. And I believe, as, again, the leader of the Democratic Party, he had the right to make that decision, and he made it, and I supported it. Whatever he had decided, I would have supported. Personally, I think what was the toughest thing to see in the 3 weeks was there was a disconnect for me, what was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague, communications director Ben LeBold said, it was a firing squad. And I had never seen anything like it before. I'd never seen a party do that in the way that they did. And it was hurtful and sad to see that happening. A firing squad around a person who I believe was a true patriot, a person who I believe did everything that he can.
All right, type in the comment section what your thoughts are. Chris says flip-flops incoming. Boom. Chubbs, sad that she's trying her hardest to act smart, but we know she's dumb as a rock. Matter of fact, the rock is smart. Chubbs, I'm going to have to put you in the corner again. CJ, Isn't it amazing how they always throw out the word disinformation? This woman just makes me sick. CJ, you weren't here. Everything out of her mouth for 4 years was nothing but lies. So you're absolutely right.
For this country, a person who I believe, as I mentioned before, has done more in one term than most presidents had done in 2 terms, historical things. And I was shocked by what I was seeing.
And Karine, just to clarify, it's your other Democrats and Democrats coming out against Biden.
Yep, I had never seen anything like that. That was, if you're asking me, the thing that I saw in those 3 weeks, that was shocking. Shocking. And instead of coming together to really be unified and trying to figure out how do we save our democracy, how do we fight back, that's what I was seeing. And, you know, that's what we decided to do for 3 weeks. And, you know, it was truly, truly unfortunate. And I think it hurt us more than I think folks realized to have done that.
And I know we're coming, and thank you so much for your question.
Thank you so much for your question.
I know we're coming up on time. If you could ask your question very quick, and I'm going to use this as
So that's what I wanted to share with you. CJ, you're absolutely right. Yeah, they love that word, misinformation and disinformation. It does make you sick. I get it. Chubbs, wonder if the wind blows at her wig if her wig will fly away. All right, Chubbs, I'm gonna put you in the corner next thing. Join me. I saved a seat in the corner. Ruby! Boom. Ruby's in the corner. Chubbs, you will have to join her. You're very, very naughty. Oh my God. What's that song I love when I think of cringe, Jean-Pierre, makes me think of the Thompson twins. Lies, 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 yeah. Lies, 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 yeah. That's all she does. CJ should be perfect for the next Pinocchio movie. Boom. And I'll also sing another one of my favorite songs by another one of my favorite groups, Fleetwood Mac. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies. That's all she's doing, folks, is telling lies. Chris said, tell me lies. Yes, Chris. I started singing that before I saw your comment. So we're on the same wavelength. We are. Love Miss Rowland, corner Chubbs, home away from home. Robert, yeah, now she's saying she's an independent. Some of you who came in late, yeah, she's writing a tell-all book. CJ and Chris and Robert, those of you who came in late, we've already discussed it. We know what this is about. Just more lies. More lies. So that's all I had for you. I'll be live again this evening. Okay. And I hope you enjoyed this. And if you will, hit the like button and also share this stream out. 3 Dog Night. Yeah. Very odd. Yeah, Robert, that's what she's doing. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Baldwin. Yeah, I wanted to jump on and do a quick video since I didn't have to work today. And I said, why not go on twice? So you know where I'm going next. I'm going to the chat section. I will be there communicating with you and talking to you as long as you're there. Thank you again. I'll still go live this evening, probably 6 o'clock-ish, something like that. So jump on. Be glad to have you. I'm coming to talk to you in the comment section right now.